Hey guys, it's Tim with Investment Prosperity, and it's a different scenery than my typical videos over the last 4 weeks. But we are out in the element, out downtown, and my mind was just wandering. And I was thinking about last week on Saw Sunday, we talked about the power of compound interest. And it got me thinking, I know there's probably folks that are not in a position to invest or even thinking about investing for the future because of their present, right? You got bills, you're past due on things, you have debt that's climbing up. And with that being said, I've been there, I understand. But one thing that really helped me get out of that jam was a budget. I know a lot of folks, it's out of sight, out of mind. They don't even want to look into their financial status because if you do, you become very overwhelmed and discouraged. You got to have a plan. And typically when it's a financial plan, you got to have a budget. The goal is to see what is coming in, what is coming out, and how you can get here if you're here. And a simple budget is the key. And you got to look at it almost every day. Now, there's a lot of apps, softwares, and different things that charge you money. We're going to use Google Sheets, and we're going to break it down by percentages and different categories to make it easy. And it's key that you follow your budget. There's no reason to work a budget and put a budget out there and you're not following it to the T. Now, you can always adjust your budget, whatever works for you. Initially, I was going to do household median income, but I felt that, in this world that we live in, a lot of folks are doing it on their own. There's a lot of single mothers, single fathers. So we're going to just keep it separate. And if you do have a household with two incomes, just bundle those together. Bundle the income, bundle your expenses, and you have a little bit more ability to hopefully have some more money to put away. We're going to go in Google Sheet. I'm going to walk you guys through that, and hopefully you get a better understanding of what a basic budget looks like. All right, so let's jump into this simple budget. Now, this budget is for folks that do not have a budget at all. It's very simple. It will give you some sort of structure of where you probably should be with the amount of income you make. And once again, this is around a single income. If you don't make this much, I completely understand. I pulled from the average income for the United States, so just be mindful of that. If it doesn't fit you perfectly, it still can be very relative. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and put our monthly income in. So let's say it's $3,500. What this will do here is break down your income into budgets. So just understand this is $3,500 after taxes. This is what goes into your checking account. All right, so when we look at essential expenses, there's a key down here. So what is essential expenses? This includes critical living costs such as rent, childcare, utilities, groceries, and transportation. Now, I also have like a little subcategory, what's utilities? So these are the things that I feel like fit in. Yours might look a little bit different. It's understandable. And then groceries, and then transportation. So as you can see, the percentage of income for essential expenses is 65. This is like the meat and potatoes of pretty much everyone's budget, everyone's expenses. We got rent, childcare, utilities, groceries, transportation. These are the things that keep you in a home and keep the lights on, and these are key for us to live. Now let's look at the other categories. Pay yourself. This is key, and honestly, this should be number one. The goal is to pay yourself, and I know 10% is not a lot, but as you make more, this becomes more. And the reason why you want to pay yourself first, because typically, if you pay yourself first, you will ensure that you will take care of the 65%. You will make sure that your rent is paid. You will make sure utilities are paid, your groceries, even if you're going to have to pull from some of this pay yourself. Now, if we go to the key here, if you don't have an emergency fund, fund that, and then you can move on saving for large purchases such as homes or short-term saving goals. We'll move to investments, which is 15% of your total monthly income. And we'll look at investments, retirement accounts, 401ks, stock investments, high yield savings account. Now, discretionary spending is 10%, and what that is entertainment, hobbies, subscriptions, clothing. Granted, you need some clothes, and clothes would fit into essential expenses. I get that, but we're talking about things that you just really don't need. So just keep in mind, this is just like a broad, basic budget, and you'll be able to move some of them things around. And then you see here is disposable income. We'll jump into that. So we're going to start adding some of our actual expenses in there. Now, this is your budget, and that doesn't mean that we're actually there. There's some folks that are spending more money than what actually they bring in, and then there's folks that are spending less. But we're going to start out on what this calculator actually does and this budget looks like. So let's say you're like, there's no way I can pay $12.93 where I live. We pay $1,400. Now, utilities. Yes, the budget's at $248, but let's say you are actually paying $300. So groceries, I know it's getting very expensive, but let's say, for example, you were right on the dot here at $397.90. We're going to go ahead and be on the money here. Let's say pay yourself the whole $350. You invest $525 monthly, and then discretionary, you gotta have the latest shoes. You got all the subscriptions. I mean, you got it all, right? You need to spend about $750. This means that we overspend compared to our budget. $558 exactly and 24 cents, more than what we can even spend. This is what leads us to, living paycheck to paycheck, being uncomfortable, putting things on payment arrangements, just not having the money for emergencies because we have overspent. So the money that we have been doing in investments, we're pulling that out. We're not letting it compound. Where discretionary spending is a little bit too much. Our pay yourself, we start using our pay itself to fund our discretionary spending. And then we don't have any money for emergency fund. We don't have any money for saving. After years and years of this constant behavior, we have no retirement plans. We have no investments. If this reminds you of what you have going on, we got to figure that out. Because the goal is you would actually stay in your means and your budget for discretionary spending, and then you start working another gig that brings you from $3,500 to $3,800. Now, look at this bottom half here. This leads you to disposable income. You worked really hard to stay within your budget and stay within your means, and you picked up that extra gig. Now you can go ahead and pay yourself a little bit more. You can also add into your investments, and then you even have extra for some fun and discretionary. So it's all about small wins, sticking to your plan, being disciplined. And the good thing is, when you bring more value to the workplace, this $3,800 can go to $5,000 very quickly. Now, if you don't have lifestyle inflation is when you make more, you spend more, you'll have a lot more disposable income. Now, instead of $42, it's $402. Now this is a lot more money where you can start putting away from your dream home. We're not even talking about your kids' college tuitions. This is where we can do better, right? We want to make sure we have a plan and we're disciplined. I could talk about this all day. I just wanted to make this short and brief. If you need something like this, I will absolutely send you over a link. No cost to you, just to try something out. This is very basic, but this is for folks that don't have tons of expenses. You can categorize all your expenses in 5 to 6 categories. Your goal is just to see where your money's going, what's going out, and where you should be putting it. Let me know if you need it. I'll send you the link over. No worries. This is all I have for today. I wanted to kind of make this simple, and hopefully you got something from this. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in. And once again, it's Tim with Investment Prosperity. You guys take care.